Good evening, everyone. We start our hourly live weather break-ins with our first winter storm of the season for the entire region. Okay, so it's not a foot of snow, but still, it has the potential of producing snowfall amounts up to possibly even 6 inches. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I wanted to go over, before we go over all the details, what we're going to be doing this evening. So, while I do these videos every hour, I will be live in the uh, NYNJPA weather chat room on the premium dashboard, and also I will be around in the uh, Discord chat room under the premium consulting area. Okay, so if you have any questions about the storm, come in there. Even how much snow is going to fall in your backyard, that's what premium membership is all about. So that way you can ask that, and I'll be more happy to answer. As we go on through this evening, we'll look at some of the factors as the storm evolves, and we'll get an idea of what exactly we can expect. So let's dive into the data. And right now at 7 p.m., we have overcast cloud cover and snow starting to break out in central and southern New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania. This is a very, very light snowfall, uh, just above flurry level. So it's not accumulating all that much yet. But with temperatures well below freezing, we're in the mid to upper 20s, anything that does fall will accumulate. So because it's falling so lightly, it's very, very low in its accumulation rate. So as that increases, you'll see that snowfall accumulation really take hold, especially after 8 p.m. tonight. Take a look at our radar right now. And you know what? Let me put up the surface feature as well. This is on WeatherTap. You can see there's our stationary front to the south. Our wave of low pressure is way south here. And you can see the snowfall starting to break out. Now, the more steady snowfall, light to moderate range, is still back towards Maryland, Virginia, and off towards West Virginia and Kentucky and Tennessee. But we're starting to get the very light snowfall starting to grow in coverage. And that's going to continue to go on as we go on through this evening. So, what is driving all of these lifting parameters? It really comes down to two features, and we talked about this in the premium public video discussion this morning: the frontogenesis and the 500 millibar shortwave that's coming in from the west. So this is the frontogenesis that we're talking about. Now, frontogenesis is driven by a thermal gradient. Now, this is at 850 millibars, and you can see this very strong frontogenesis that has developed that is lifting to the northeast. And this is what's going to be lifting towards our neck of the woods as we move through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. And that's what's going to produce light to moderate snowfall, steady light to moderate snowfall right around tomorrow morning's rush hour. Now, look, I get it. You're saying to yourself 2 to 5 inches, maybe 6 inches. Why is this a big deal? Well, consider this. We haven't had snowfall of this type in 2 years, which to me is amazing to say, but it has happened before in history. I mean, look, it happened in the 80s, it happened in the 60s, it happened sometimes in the 90s where we had these snow droughts. We are in one now, and believe me, I got the emails, I know. But with that snow drought comes a unfamiliarity with how to drive in the snow. So if you're driving tomorrow morning to work, please take extra time because you may not be used to the slick roadways. And the people around you may not be used to the slick roadways and snow covered roadways and the poor visibility. So even though it's light to moderate snow, it still can create a lot of trouble, a lot of danger. Doesn't take much snow and sleet to create problems on the roadway. So please use caution and take some time. So we're going to be watching this feature, and we can see it even more nicely here on the Earth News School, and this is at 850 millibars. You can see that thermal gradient very clearly here. So this is what's driving our lifting. Now, while this is evolving and lifting up towards our area, we're going to be watching this short wave in the polar jet stream. Now, as we know, this had the potential to be a pretty significant storm. The reason why it's not is because this ridge is being knocked down and the short wave in the subtropical jet stream is moving too fast. So there just isn't enough time for this short wave to get basically caught and phased with this short wave here. That's what supported the potential for a major storm, but that does not look like it's going to be the case. It won't be the case because this is already heading out towards the Bahamas and heading towards Bermuda. So this is a short wave that we're going to be watching. And what type of lifting is involved here? Well, this is why using the infrared satellite picture is such an amazing tool, because you can literally see the two different features of lifting. This is your photogenesis right here that's starting to develop, and notice the colder cloud tops, which means a stronger lifting. This is your subtropical jet stream down here. Here's your polar jet stream, and here's your polar short wave with the lifting associated with it. So this lifting is going to be trying to catch this lifting. And as these two areas of lifting try to catch each other, they're going to support an area of moderate snowfall. Now, this is where things get tricky here, because what we're going to be watching is as these two features interact, is whether or not we get any type of slantwise convection. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the skew T here. This is currently right now. This is the forecast for the skew T for right now from the HRR. And what we're going to be watching for as we go out to 18 hours and we submit. And again, this is from tropicaltidbits.com, a free website. What we're going to be watching for as this whole storm evolves is whether or not that warm air that tries to push into the coast creates a very strong gradient in the atmosphere. So this is towards the New Jersey coast. This is where we are expecting rain and snow to mix in. We go a little bit further inland. Let's see if we can do that here. And let me see if I can jump 18 hours. And let's go a little bit further inland. And notice the gradient is much tighter, okay? This aspect right here. So what we're going to be watching for is if we get enough instability in the atmosphere to reduce this mixing and sleet. Because as you go further north and west, you start to lose that warm pocket. So the question is, as we move forward, and let me try to find a good depiction right here. Okay. So as we go forward, how much of this warm pocket is going to support sleet and how much is it going to support intense areas of precipitation? So that's essentially the question to this whole forecast. So what I've been watching with this gradient setting up right here is when this lifts through, how far does the warm air push into the coastal plain to support a mix of snow, sleet, and rain? Again, when we say warmer air, we're talking about 33, 34 degrees at the surface and maybe 1 degree Celsius aloft. How much of that is going to support a gradient of intense precipitation, and how much of that is going to support a wintry mix? So this is the going forecast. And again, this is what premium members see all the time. Out here towards West Virginia, this is where the best chance I thought for 3 to 6 inches of snow. The National Weather Service has bumped up the potential for 3 to 6 inches of snow here. I'm doing 2 to 5. The difference is really 1 inch. And the question really comes down to if we get some mixing here with the sleet, is that going to hold down that snowfall accumulation? And how long are we going to have that moisture available? So right now along the coast, we're expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow with sleet and rain mixed in. A little bit away from the coast in northern Long Island, much of Connecticut, the I-95 corridor, basically. This is where I'm expecting the strong frontogenesis to combine with the moisture that's available and the strong lifting coming in from the west with the polar shortwave. And that is where I like the idea of snowfall in general, 2 to 3 inches, and then you get your 4 or 5 inches. Could you get 6 inches out of this? If we get the moderate precipitation to linger long enough, yeah, there is that chance. So we'll be keeping an eye on that and seeing how that evolves as we go on through the night. That's your updates for this hour. I'll be back at 8 p.m. as we watch the storm evolve together.